Viewer discretion advised.
Once upon a time, in a world where magic is as common as a morning breeze, stories aren't just found in books. Sometimes they step right off the page and into our lives. This is the story of two very special ponies, living their lives of adventure. Meet Poppy, bright, green, and full of spirit, and her mare friend, Daring Do, the legendary Pegasus explorer. They had spent the night dreaming of far-off lands, safe and sound in their beds. But even the best adventurers need to wake up eventually. A little stretch here, a little yawn there, and it was time to face the day together. They didn't have a worry in the world as they trotted through the halls of their beautiful home. Their vacation was off to a wonderful start. The kitchen was filled with the sweet aroma of breakfast. They shared laughs, a few playful moments, and looked forward to a peaceful meal. Daring Do was busy at the stove, while Poppy made sure everything was just right. To them, it was just another Tuesday. Little did they know, the world outside was in a state of shock. But then Poppy noticed the morning headline. The headline was a chilling sight. Princess Flurry Heart on death's door. A mysterious ailment had struck the young alicorn. A heavy knock. Standing there, amidst the falling snow, was a member of the Royal Crystal Guard. He hadn't come for a social visit. He had come with a summons. The princess's parents had requested their presence at the Crystal Palace immediately. Their vacation was over. A royal emergency had begun. Poppy and Daring Do arrived at the Crystal Palace to find a heavy silence hanging in the air. They were led immediately to the royal bedchamber, where the young Princess Flurry Heart lay pale and still. Her bedroom, once filled with laughter and light, now felt like a sanctuary of shadows. The urgency of the guard's summons was now painfully clear. Time was running out, as Nurse Redheart told them of her condition. From the quiet of the nursery, they were ushered into the grand throne room. Princess Cadence and Shining Armor sat waiting, their faces etched with exhaustion from many sleepless nights of worry. With a heavy heart, Cadence stepped forward to greet them. She thanked them for coming on such short notice, her voice trembling as she explained that they were the only ones she could trust with such a delicate and dangerous task. In this moment, Candace grabbed both mares in her embrace and broke down in a fit of tears. It was then that Cadence told them of the artifact and her long-shot hope at treating her daughter's illness. Calling upon her magic, a shimmering light began to take form. A brilliant, ethereal glow bathed the room as the princess summoned a book. Legends of Equestria appeared floating before them. Through her tears, Cadence spoke of the Amulet of Medicus, an ancient relic capable of healing even the darkest of ailments. But the amulet was tucked away in a place few creatures dared to tread. Arriving at the busy Portmailon docks, Poppy and Daring Do finally laid eyes on their transport, the Winter Solstice. A mammoth ship of the line, it stood as a towering titan of the Crystal Empire's fleet. They were met by the stalwart Captain Seven Seas, who welcomed the adventurers aboard his massive vessel. With little time to waste, he led them on a whirlwind tour, showcasing the power and scale of the fortress-like ship as the crew prepped for the voyage. The tour concluded in the quiet of the captain's quarters. Spreading out his weathered navigation charts, Seven Seas pointed to the treacherous route ahead, while the map to the Amulet of Medicus led into dangerous, uncharted waters, ready for the challenge. The heavy groan of the anchor chain signaled the final moment of departure. With the winter solstice anchored safely in the distance, Poppy and Daring Do began the final leg of their approach. The rhythmic dip of their oars was the only sound against the quiet morning air as they rowed their longboat toward the mysterious, jungle-fringed shore. No sooner had they begun to unload their gear onto the sand than a thunderous roar shattered the peace. As the winter solstice suddenly came under heavy cannon fire, smoke and flame erupted from the great ship's sides as she fought to defend her position. The situation grew dire as a second hostile vessel emerged from the mist to join the assault. Outnumbered and trapped in the bay, the winter solstice was forced into a desperate retreat, her sails catching the wind as she pulled away from the island to lead the attackers away. Poppy and Daring stood on the beach, watching their only way home disappear over the horizon. They were now truly alone, cut off from the Empire and their allies. The two mares turned their backs on the sea and headed deep into the jungle. With the morning sun filtering through the dense leaves, Poppy and Daring Do burst into a clearing, racing toward the massive stone structure that has stood silent for eons. The ancient temple loomed ahead, and with it, the Amulet of Medicus. As they drew closer, the very stones seemed to breathe, and the entrance began to shift and morph before their eyes. Ancient magic rippling across the stone suggested that the path to the Amulet of Medicus would be protected by trials they have never faced before. Before stepping into the unknown darkness of the temple proper, the two mares paused for a tender moment. They nuzzled for good luck, a quiet promise that no matter what traps or secrets lay inside, they would face them together. Inside the Temple of Medicus, the air is thick with the scent of damp stone and ancient dust. Poppy and Daring Do pause, Daring's torch illuminating intricate carvings along the walls that tell the story of the healers who once ruled these halls. The drawings pulse with a faint, lingering magic, guiding them deeper into the labyrinth. As they press forward, the floor suddenly gives way. With a sharp gasp, Poppy vanishes through a hidden trapdoor, tumbling into the darkness of a chamber below. She hits the ground hard, the impact knocking the breath from her lungs as she lies stunned on the cold stone. Daring Do dives after her, but her landing triggers a secondary defense. The walls hiss as a barrage of ancient arrows whistles through the air, narrowly missing the two mares as they scramble for cover. Shaken but determined, they recover their footing and cast their light toward the center of the room. There, resting upon a pedestal of stone, they finally lay eyes on the Amulet of Medicus. Its golden surface glows with the promise of a miracle. Success. But as Poppy and Daring claim the amulet, the pedestal sinks, triggering the temple's final lethal defense. A massive stone boulder thunders behind them, forcing the duo into a desperate sprint through the crumbling corridors until they finally burst out into the jungle air. Their relief is short-lived. Emerging from the shadows, King Sombra and his henchmen surround the exhausted mares. Poppy tries to stand her ground, but Sombra's dark roar and intimidating presence force her back. With a flare of shadowy magic, the villain seizes the amulet for himself. Sombra sighs as he reveals his master plan. He was the one who cursed Flurry Heart. He knew the amulet was the only cure and waited for the explorers to find it, just so he could destroy it. Opening a spiraling black portal, he prepares to cast the relic into the depths of Tartarus forever. In a brilliant act of desperation, Daring Do rockets into the canopy, bucking a massive banana tree. A deluge of fruit rains down, bringing a swarm of angry monkeys with it. Amidst the chaotic primate attack, Poppy lunges forward, snatching the amulet in her mouth and galloping into the trees. Spells explode across the jungle floor as the henchmen give chase, but the two mares don't look back. They reach the beach and heave their longboat into the surf, just as the winter solstice appears on the horizon.
We got Amulet. Stop, need naval support. Stop, send help, stop.
Incoming message, Captain, from Fleet Command. Help is on its way.
The safety of the deck is a fleeting illusion. Across the Whitecaps, Sombra's dark fleet cuts through the waves, their full sails signaling a relentless hunt for the stolen amulet. Captain Seven Seas' voice thunders across the deck, barking orders to the crew to prepare for the fight of their lives. The sails are taut, the cannons are primed, the crew is ready. The silence is shattered as Sombra's warship pulls alongside, unleashing a devastating broadside that splinters the Winter Solstice's hull. Deep within the guts of the ship, the iron path of destruction leads straight to Lieutenant Radiant Broadside. Amidst the splintering wood, she stands firm, her voice cutting through the roar of battle as she commands her gunners to return fire with everything they've got. The winter solstice thunders back. Choking sulphurous smoke fills the lower decks. Across the churning water, a hellscape unfolds. Both ships are locked in a death grip. Masts engulfed in flame and tattered sails whipping in the heat, the battle is quickly consuming both ships. The conflict escalates into the heavens as both sides launch their Pegasi into the smoke-filled air. Above the burning masts, a savage dogfight unfolds. One of Sombra's flyers, a blue Pegasus, who strikes with ruthless precision, shearing the wing from a defender. The pink Pegasus falls, a broken and bloody shadow crashing onto the deck below. Amidst the battle, the blue Pegasus hunter spots Poppy and dives. He pursues her across the battle-strewn deck, his eyes locked on his prey. Poppy fights with everything she has, but the seasoned soldier is too fast. Eventually pinning her down against the blood-stained deck. The Pegasus grips the hilt of his dagger in his muzzle, his gaze cold and pitiless. Terror washes over Poppy's face as she realizes there is no escape. With a violent, sickening thrust, he plunges the blade deep into her chest. She can feel the icy steel grinding against bone and slicing through her lungs, stealing her breath. As the blade is wrenched out, a thick, hot torrent of crimson blood erupts from the wound, pooling rapidly across the weathered timber as her strength drains away. Seeing the love of her life bleeding on the splintered deck, a primal rage erupts within Daring Do. She swoops like a hurricane, slamming into the assassin before he can strike again. They lock in a savage aerial duel, but Daring's fury is unmatched. With a thunderous buck to the chest, she sends the assassin spiraling into the churning depths below. Daring drops to the deck, her heart shattering. She stares in horror at the ragged hole in Poppy's chest. The coat she once nuzzled is now a dark, matted mess of crimson. With every shuddering gasp, Poppy's lungs whistle through the wound, and pink froth stains her lips as she struggles for air.
Help!
Daring screams pierce the roar of cannons, bringing Dr. Seaspray through the smoke. She tenderly lifts Poppy's blood-slicked body onto the stretcher, using her wings to steady them. She begs the doctor to do something.
Please, for Celestia's sake, tell me she'll be all right.
I'm sorry.
The world shifts. Fueled by the belief she has lost the love of her life, Daring Do rockets into the sky. Below, the ships are locked in a death grip as Captain Seven Seas leads the charge onto Sombra's flagship. Daring dives like a fallen star, landing with her sword pointing at King Sombra's throat. The sight of Poppy's blood has filled her with an unyielding rage. They circle one another, Daring trembling with the urge to strike. Sombra remains eerily calm. He offers her a soul-breaking choice. The Amulet of Medicus can heal Poppy, but its magic is finite. To save her love, Daring must destroy the only hope for Princess Flurry Heart, leaving the royal child to a certain cursed end. Aboard the shattered winter solstice, Daring makes an impossible choice. She knows Poppy would have sacrificed herself for the Empire, but Daring cannot endure a world without her love. She activates the amulet, and a surge of golden light pulls Poppy back from the edge of death, sacrificing the cure for the princess to save the one she loves. Weeks later, Poppy recovers in the Crystal Hospital. Princess Cadence and Shining Armor stand by the bedside. Though their daughter remains cursed, they step back with somber respect, thanking the mayors for their incredible bravery. As the room falls quiet, Daring and Poppy share a tender nuzzle. The amulet is gone, but as they hold each other close, they realize that some treasures are more precious than any ancient relic.
I thought I lost you. I love you too.